My name's Jayden, and up until a few weeks ago, I was just some broke 17-year-old trying to survive. My grandma and I lived in a rundown apartment with no hot water, barely enough food, and rent we couldn't pay on time. I worked nights at a burger place, skipped lunch just so she could buy her meds. Every day felt like a dead end. One rainy evening, I was walking home after my shift when a black car pulled up next to me. I thought I was about to get mugged or kidnapped until a man stepped out wearing a black suit and silver tie. He looked rich. Dangerous rich. "Jayden Moore?" he asked. "Who's asking?" He reached into his coat and pulled out a photo of me. "You look exactly like someone I've been searching for. You ever hear of Marcus Valter?" Of course I had. Billionaire. Real estate mogul. One of the richest men alive. "I work for him," the man continued. "His son disappeared 10 years ago, and you look just like him." I blinked. "Okay, and? We want you to pretend to be him, just for a short time. You'll be paid handsomely." I was certain it was a scam until he pulled out an envelope. It had 20 cash inside. Just for listening. I stood there, soaked and speechless. $2,000? That was more than I made in 3 months flipping burgers. "Why me?" I asked. "Why not find the real son?" He smiled. "Let's just say we have our reasons. You want in or not?" The next few days were insane. They moved me into a private penthouse. I got new clothes, new shoes, even a new name. I was now Jayden Valter, heir to a billion-dollar empire. They trained me like I was starring in a movie how to speak properly, eat at fancy dinners, even how to sign autographs. Every day, I learned something new about the missing son. Favorite foods, childhood stories, the scar on his left arm from a bike accident. The scary part? I didn't even have to fake it that hard. I looked just like the kid in the photos. Finally, the day came when I'd meet Mr. Valter himself. I expected suspicion, questions, maybe a DNA test. But when he saw me, he froze. His face crumpled and he rushed forward, hugging me like I was the only person left on Earth. "My boy," he whispered. "My son, you're finally home." Everything after that moved fast. I was living in his mansion. I had a private room bigger than our entire apartment back home. Private chef, butler, drive everything was at my fingertips. I should have been happy, but something didn't feel right. His daughter, me supposed sister, watched me like I was a ghost. The staff never looked me in the eyes, and when I walked down the halls, I could feel them whispering. One night, I found a folded note under my pillow. "You don't belong here." That's when I realized, this wasn't just some weird acting job. I was in way over my head. Cage. Every day I wore the mask of the billionaire son. But behind the luxury and endless parties, I felt more alone than ever. Elena, my supposed sister, never smiled around me. Her icy blue eyes were sharp and cold, and I caught her glaring at me more than once. The servants whispered as I passed by, sometimes outright staring. Other times quickly looking away like they were afraid I'd catch them. I was the outsider in a family that barely wanted me. One evening, after an exhausting dinner filled with fake smiles and strained conversations, I wandered the mansion's endless halls. A soft whisper caught my attention. Peeking around a corner, I saw 2 men in suits standing near the library. "Are you sure he's the real son?" one asked. "He has to be," the other replied. "But we must watch him closely. He can't slip up." My heart pounded in my chest. Who were these men? Why was I being monitored? Back in my room, I couldn't shake the feeling of being hunted. That's when my eyes caught a small gap behind the bookshelf. Curiosity pushed me forward, and I pulled out a dusty leather notebook with the initials KV embossed on the cover. As I flipped through the pages, my blood ran cold. It was the journal of Kaden Valter, the real missing son. His handwriting was shaky in places, filled with fear and desperation. "They took me away. They said it was for my safety, but it feels like a prison. They're planning to replace me, to erase my existence. If you find this, please run. Don't trust anyone." The words echoed my worst fears. I wasn't just acting a role. I was caught in a dangerous conspiracy. The next morning, I confronted Mr. Valter, my heart heavy with questions. His usually warm eyes hardened. "You don't understand what this family has been through," he said quietly. "Enemies are everywhere. Friends and foes wear the same mask." He slid an envelope across the table. Inside was a DNA report. My hands trembled as I read the results. The test confirmed I was his biological son. Not a fake, not a pawn. Shock slammed into me like a tidal wave. For years, I thought I was an imposter. But the truth was far more complicated. The original missing son? He wasn't me. That evening, Elena's cold facade softened for the first time. She pulled me aside. "They're watching you," she whispered. "If you slip up, you'll disappear just like Kaden. Be careful who you trust." Suddenly, the mansion felt less like home and more like a cage, where every shadow hid a secret and every smile hid a threat. I was no longer just pretending to be the billionaire's son. I was fighting to survive as one. Learning I was Marcus Valter's real son should have brought answers. Instead, it raised more questions. Why did the staff treat me like an imposter? And if I was truly his heir, who was Kaden Valtor, the boy who left behind that chilling journal? Late one night, I found Elena alone in the garden. Her usual icy expression had cracked. Kaden wasn't really my brother, she said softly. He was adopted when he was young. Dad raised him as his own, until Kaden started asking questions. Then, one day, he just vanished. No funeral. No goodbye. I asked her if she thought he was dead. No, she said. I think he's still here. That night, I tore through the mansion, guided by Kaden's journal. The eyes always watch from the east wall. I found a panel behind a dusty shelf in the wine cellar leading to a locked steel door. Inside was a surveillance room. Every camera in the mansion was on display. And on one screen, I saw a boy. Thin, pale, older now, but his green eyes burned with the same fire I'd read in his journal. Kaden was alive, locked in a small, silent room beneath the house. I stormed into Mr. Valtor's office, furious. You lied. Kaden's still here. He didn't deny it. He betrayed us, he said coldly. Hacked our files, exposed board secrets, nearly ruined the company. I kept him alive, quiet. You're better, my blood, loyal. You raised him, I snapped, then locked him away like trash. He stared at me with disappointment. You were never meant to feel sorry for him. That night, Elena and I freed Kaden. He staggered out of the room, eyes locked on mine. So, you're the one they chose? I didn't choose this, I said. But I'm choosing to help you now. He smiled weak but proud. Then let's end it. Within days, the truth exploded online. Elena leaked the surveillance footage. Kaden gave interviews. The media ate it up. Secret sons, a corrupt empire, a billionaire's fall. Mr. Valtor disappeared before the police arrived. Kaden didn't want revenge. He refused to take back the company. Instead, we handed it over to charity. Every dollar earned off lies went towards something real. Now I'm back where I started living with my grandma, working part-time, figuring life out. But I'm not pretending anymore. I'm not a stand-in, not a fake. I'm Jayden Moore, the boy who uncovered the truth and walked away from everything, rich in ways that can't be measured.